How do you make 9? It's not even symmetrical.
It's a 5 and a 4.
You can't do that, I haven't got enough. So that's 4?
Yeah.
Alright, can I use your 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to episode 9 of the compound rebuild series. So trails has always been it in my life, in my career, and for the compound I've never had trails. I've had a pump track, then I swapped it for an airbag. I've had big jumps, drops, step downs, bowler logs, quarter pipes, mulch jumps, all of these roll-ins. It's been like an absolute roller coaster of building, changing, but the rebuild is now all about trails and this. So in the last episode, in number 8, we built that takeoff. I built this cool wooden roll-in, which is like 2.5 sheets of plywood long. That's going to deliver loads of speed to get straight into the action with a proper jump. Often trails start with rollers, racers, you need to build your speed. Especially in the lockdown trails, I was on flat ground. Now, I'm going to be motoring at the bottom of this roll-in, and it took about 3 weeks to stack that takeoff. Because of the rain, because of the mud, because we were stacking just like putty, it didn't work. And now the sun has come out in an absolute force, and it means that the clay can bake at a rate that you can build really quickly. So, you've always seen, I mean, it's insane. That just makes this place look incredible. I've got a line of trails forming, and although the takeoff's not finished, you can see the scale of this landing that's almost all been built by hand. I stacked the original little pile with the digger in the last episode, but that has just towered up, all with shovels and wheelbarrows from the dirt over there. There was a huge bank of clay that's been barrowed over here, and I'll talk to you a bit more about the plan and why that jump isn't what you'd expect after a first double. But first, come and meet Jamie. So in the last episode, when we were building with our bare hands and clay and mud, we were throwing these like grenades of clay. I mean, it worked, didn't it? It was effective. Now we get onto the shovels because we can dig up clay that's like perfect for digging, and that is the result. So when I went away to Madeira, I was gutted that it took 3 weeks to build a takeoff, and I thought, how's this like compound rebuild series ever going to continue and progress if I'm going away, coming back, doing drips and drabs? And I thought it's actually time in my career and for this channel to like take on a trail builder, and that is Jamie. So Jamie really impressed me with like shaping that lip, doing things. He's quit his job, but now he works for me. So that does mean that everything on this channel that gets built won't wholeheartedly have been built by me. Ben, sorry, but you did muck in here and there, but I take full ownership of everything I've ever built. But now there's going to be more content on the channel. There's going to be more updates, more uploads, and bigger and better stuff. So Jamie was working away while we were in Madeira, while Ben was sunning himself and I was at hospital. And this week in the baking heat, Jamie's been at it again. And it's so hot, look, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's actually 24 degrees, which is where we draw the line of being too hot. We've got a lot of Australian viewers, they've always laughed, but 24 is horrendous already. Ben's got his top off. If Jamie took his top off all this week, he'd look like a raisin or a sultana. But look at that land, hey? Oh, you have got factor 50 on. At 24 degrees, I'm sure some people will see the funny side, but it's also safe. Right, this jump, that landing, how tall are you, Jamie? He's a big lad. 6'1". So we don't use Jamie to photograph jumps, we use Ben because he's a lot smaller, it makes the jump bigger. But that's like a 7 and a bit foot landing. It's huge. Clay takes twice as long to build with as sand. So I'm really impressed with this. I have helped you with that, didn't I? Yeah. But really, that's all Jamie's hard graphs.
Did it? Yeah.
Come on, I went away. Everything you see now is this dude here. The gap is exactly what I hoped. I remember thinking that the jump was too small because the roll-in looked giant, but now it's gone up and the takeoff will probably go up another 6 inches. It's stepped up, it's got a huge case pad for Ben. It's steep, you couldn't build that with sand and it lasts. And what we found is by keeping these jumps covered up with a tarpaulin, not only keeps the rain off, but it keeps the moisture in. So they sort of sweat, and then when you peel the tarp off, they're so ready to go. Something we didn't do last year in lockdown, and something here I'm definitely going to do. So you'd naturally expect that epic rad double, which is going to get tricked, boosted, pulled up on, knack-knacks, seat grabs, no-handers.
Crashed.
Yeah, and huge over the bar spinals from Ben. Sorry, you're taking it hard this week. Oh, and also, the other thing is, Jamie, we've got in our arrangement, I'm going to build him an Alcatraz dirt jump bike. So he's already levelled up past Brakeless Ben onto an actual dirt jump bike. So Jamie, you're going to hit this, aren't you?
I tried.
Which is sick. And Ben sort of sniffed at the idea of getting a hardtail. But you like your BMX. It's where you excel.
Yeah,
you can do 3 whips and flips, so you may as well carry on as you are. So you get a big double. We're not riding downhill much, so the speed will come from pumping. Obviously, I wanted to build another double. But with the airbag that lives here, and the absolute giant Everest, which has got quite a lot of foliage and vegetation on it now. Who knew that in the mountains of Nepal, such vast, green, luscious vegetation could form? Jamie, you up any good with weed killer?
No.
I had bought him a strimmer. Where was I going? God, the heat, man. The airbag lives here. Everest is very much in the way, so I couldn't fit another double. 2 doubles in a row would have been sick, but actually what it's done is forced the issue and meant we had to build a spine. I even thought at one point it'd have to be a roller, which was going to be boring. So I've sort of chopped out with a digger in the back of Everest, which is going to form a huge left hip. So the line is going to go roll in, double, spine, which is at least 8 foot. When you stand at the bottom there, it's almost as big as the airbag lip. I can't wait to blast this. It's like the chunky piece of the lockdown trails on steroids, and it needs a name. The double, we can just call it the first. This is the focus piece for a name, I think.
I'd like to propose Chunky Piece V2. Just keep it.
Really?
Yeah.
Paying homage to the
Yeah.
100 days of digging last year.
I think it should be.
If someone could come up with a good mountain name for that, please throw it in the comments. Then we're going to have a takeoff, a left hip to clear the end of the airbag, then the line's going to go up and pick up the quarter pipe. But really, the hard graft has been to get to this point because it's all been done by hand. And doesn't it look good for it? Like, you couldn't have made that out of a digger. I did stack this and grade all the ground with a digger to find dirt for that, but really, Jamie's made it happen. He's built his first spine. He's done a good job, man. Spinal. Next, we're going to square that off, build a really rad left hip. My concussion, I'm sort of learning what's going on. There's some weird stuff happening, like my resting heart rate is super, super high. I can't even get it below 90, even when I'm like lying in bed. So my brain still thinks I'm doing exercise even when I'm not. So I'm not going mad, but I will ride this line soon because it's baking before our very eyes. How much were you spraying that 10 minutes ago? So much. It's already getting hard, so we're going to ride this. It might just be Jamie or Ben that tests it. Unlucky. The only thing is, there's a drain that takes the water from all of this area. We've had to do like town planning. When you build concrete, you have to deal with flash floods. That pipe takes water from the other side of the concrete. That pipe takes water all the way under the airbag out to where the Van Haven beast is. So we just need to connect those 2 things up with gravel, then we can carry on the line. But now I'm glad to say that for you guys, the episodes are going to speed up a lot. Not only with Jamie's help, but the fact that these features are kind of there, aren't they? There's already a takeoff there. That doesn't have to be built from scratch. The landing's naturally going to be in the side of there when we get the weed killer and the weed whacker on it. So although I've talked a lot, you've got to be impressed, the line of trails at this place. In the next episode, when I fly my drone around and you see how this place looks now with this epic line through the middle, it's like an absolute freestyle park. We're getting there. I can't wait to ride. It's not very wide, that spine, is it? Does that scare you? It does me.
Yeah.
It's a lot thinner than it is. No, it's a lot taller than it is wide. I'd say it's an 8 foot lip. I'm 5'10". I'm stood in the bommel. 7 foot lip, 7.5. The first job Jamie did on his first day of work, actually, because in the last episode that was like an aqua park, wasn't it?
It was horrific.
Full of water. It was green. So Jamie's dug a drain through there. We put some perforated pipe from there all the way out to Ben's M4. Covered it with gravel and road planing. So this will never fill with water again. Greg and I dug out that old patch. Some of you will remember, the most loyal Humboldt fans will remember there's always been like a sheet of plywood here, which sat over the broken up screed. Me and Greg, he's a good old boy, dug that out, replaced it with way more concrete. So this is now looking sick. Jamie actually cleans it. He comes up here and cleans it with a hose and a brush. He's that way inclined. Do you know some people just like to square up and make things look good? I found that guy. I was always like that, but again, Ben, you'd leave a wake of destruction with your wheelbarrowing.
I'm being mean today, mate.
Even look at this scaffold board here, so he doesn't have to get muddy feet when he walks through the
Very smart.
Well done, Jamie. Glad I got help, because it gets out of hand. We need to cut the grass, we need to do the weeding. So what do you guys think? We've got a double, a spine, a left hip. I know that we can go into the quarter pipe, but this line, I want to bring it back to the start. I want to use this space. I think it could maybe, I don't know. My brain just said pump track, but I don't know. It's just been an update, this video, because there's been so much happening. And I forgot that there's actually a build lapse.
There is.
Should we throw it in
So
early?
we can throw it in now.
So now. So I left, Jamie's been filming time lapses, so I forgot that I don't get to just show you new jumps, but you can watch them all get built. Ready? 3, 2, 1, build lapse. at this great tool that Silverline make. Now you'd expect it to pat the ground in, but actually when you hit it on the ground, look what it does.